Welcome back to another episode of Testimonial Wisconsin. In this one, I want to talk about Tesla sales. I hear all the time, what states can't I buy a Tesla in? Which it's usually phrased as, why can't I buy a Tesla in my state? Well, this is because many states have a direct to consumer ban on sales. In fact, all 50 states have a ban on this to some degree. It's not the same in each state. It's not a federal law, it's a state law. And some states run a real hard line on how their law is written, and some states are a little more loosey-goosey and have some loopholes and workarounds in getting to this. In Wisconsin, it is statute 218.0121 parentheses 2M. And this states a factory shall not directly or indirectly hold an ownership interest in the operation and control of a motor vehicle dealership in the state. This is often called a factory store law. It dates back in different states around the United States. It dates back to like the 1930s in some variation, some version of this. Even in Wisconsin, there are some older laws like this that go back to the 1930s and 50s. But the current law that's in state, specifically in Wisconsin, only goes back to 1993, and it hasn't changed since 1993. The reason for these bans on direct-to-consumer sales, it goes back to dealerships versus manufacturers. They were trying to ban unfair competition and abuse practices by manufacturers. There were dealerships, and then manufacturers wanted their own dealerships, and manufacturers could really screw over the independent dealerships, and they could affect service and parts and sales and prices, and this just became unfair. So they were preventing the unfair competition from manufacturers versus independent dealerships. They're trying to maintain separation between manufacturers and retail. They were also trying to promote stability in the dealer-manufacturer relationship, hoping that that would pass on and help out the consumers. It's all rooted in protecting local businesses from manufacturers' overreach. As I mentioned earlier, all 50 states have some variation, some version of this type of law. The more strict states are Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Now, some of those states, or all of them, still have some version of a loophole or workaround. It's just a little more strict than the rest of the United States. People hear that list and wonder, how can Texas be in that list with their gigafactory? And we all saw the car come off the production line and go to the person's house for self-delivery. Texas is still on that list. They do have more strict bans. In Texas, they've kind of got around with it with online purchases, so they do not sell the cars in their dealerships or galleries. They can test drive them there. They make them go online and order the car online, but they're allowed to pick them up at their galleries, dealerships, and it's declared an out-of-state pickup or an out-of-state purchase. Wisconsin has similar bans, and you have to buy it online as an out-of-state purchase, but you still can't pick it up at our galleries or dealerships. In Wisconsin, we actually have to leave the state to go pick it up out of state and then drive it back in. But you can still register it and everything once you get it in your own state. So it's a bit more tricky. Tesla is contesting this in many states across the United States, in all of them. They're trying to make it open for direct to sales. They have their own reasoning for this methodology. I know there's a lot of front end to back end communication from manufacturing to sales to recalls to this and that. And I'm not going to get into if it's good or bad. I just want to explain that's why you can't buy a Tesla in all 50 states. One more thing that might not be directly obvious when you think about direct-to-sale bans and states that you can or cannot do that is how it affects leasing. This same law that affects Teslas being sold in your state also affects you being able to lease a Tesla in your state. It's all tied together. Now, those same loopholes or similar loopholes that allow them to get around it in some states are used the same way for leasing, but actually some of those states that have more strict laws on that direct-to-consumer sale bans, some of those are still so strict that they don't allow leasing at all directly from Tesla in those states. And that would be states such as Arkansas, Delaware, Kentucky, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Those states still do not allow any leasing directly from Tesla. So you have to buy it, or you don't get it, or you go used. Third-party leasing, if that's a thing in your state. So it's a tricky subject. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below, and let's start a discussion on this. Thank you.